Welcome back to Teeny Bopper TV Breakdown. Today we recap Radio Free Roscoe, Episode 6, I Am ? Ray is fooling around with Lily's guitar before she arrives at the RFR studio, and you better believe she catches him and reprimands him for getting hot sauce on it. She was almost late because her headphones were confiscated at school and she was trying to get them back, but there was a long line ahead of her. Apparently, Henry Roscoe High just banned headphones, and the RFR teens are unhappy. Just wait until smartphones are more widespread, kids. They see this move as an expression of control, which, given how Cougar Radio is run, I don't necessarily blame them. The dress code has also gotten harsher, no baseball caps allowed, and study hall is just for homework, no outside reading. Lily says someone should start a petition to reverse the headphone ban, and it seems that someone will be her. We'll see how this goes. Sure enough, not as many people seem to care about the headphone ban as the RFR foursome does, so Lily has a hard time getting signatures. Then the principal comes into a class on The Handmaid's Tale of all books. There's even a big tyranny written on the chalkboard, and catches a student with the last name Delancey listening to music in his headphones. They are over the ear and wired, so a lot harder to hide than, say, AirPods. But instead of backing down, Delancey talks back to him and shows him a really well done caricature drawing, which the principal promptly rips out of his notebook. After school, Robbie is at Mickey's and vents to the owner about the ban, wondering if the principal ever went to high school himself. Mickey shares that they went to school together, in fact, at Roscoe High, where they were both Cougar Radio DJs in 1978. Apparently Waller isn't so bad once you get to know him, but Robbie has his doubts. Mickey says that even in high school, Waller was an angry little nerd with a perm, so Robbie hypothesizes that the ban is his payback. He says he'd do anything to hear Waller as a DJ. Luckily, Mickey can make that happen. On RFR, the teens play a cassette tape that just happens to be a recording of high school Waller DJing on Cougar Radio in 1978 as his alter ego, Danger Man. Current-day Principal Waller hears the broadcast, while talking to the school chancellor about the positive effects of the headphone ban and therefore getting very distracted, and is horrified. As he puts it, no one messes with Danger Man. Over the intercom the next day, the principal shares that he would appreciate any information on the identity of the DJ known as ? For unauthorized station Radio Free Roscoe. He then lists a group of boys he wants to see in his office, including Delancey, whose first name is Kevin, Travis, and Robbie. It becomes clear that the principal is going to make him do a voice test to see if he can figure out who ? is. So they formulate a plan to all act nervous and hopefully foil the principal's plot. Waller is definitely still suspicious of Robbie, though, given how quickly he left Cougar Radio even after he'd had such big ideas for it. He rhetorically asks if it's fair that ? gets to stay anonymous while Danger Man has been exposed, and tells Robbie that ? has until the end of the next school day to turn himself in, and if he doesn't, the principal will reveal ? identity at the school assembly. He then makes an additional threat, saying, "You might think this is trivial, but I can guarantee you colleges won't." At RFR, Ray tries to convince Robbie that the principal is bluffing, but Robbie isn't so sure. Lily is upset that Waller is abusing his power, but Robbie counters that maybe they abused theirs too. The protest was supposed to be about the headphone ban, so playing the tape was a cheap shot. Ray asks if Robbie is planning on turning himself in, and Robbie says no, but then heads off somewhere. Well, look who it is. Waller's at Mickey's. He's figured out that Mickey gave RFR the tape, and is upset that he's potentially losing his students' respect as they've started calling him Danger Man. He tells Mickey to tell ? to take responsibility for his own actions and turn himself in, even though he absolutely already knows who the anonymous DJ is. Mickey tries to convince Waller not to jeopardize the boy's future by staining his permanent record if he doesn't turn himself in, saying it could just be strike one, but the principal doesn't seem to care. As Waller leaves, Robbie comes in and returns the tape to Mickey once the principal is out the door. He apologizes carefully, saying, "I'm sorry I gave this to RFR without asking." They continue to talk around the subject. Mickey pretends he doesn't realize Robbie is ? But when asked if he thinks Waller's bluffing, he says, "The perm may have grown out, but the angry nerd is still inside him." The next day, Lily still isn't having any luck with the petition, so Ray literally jumps in to help. He starts breakdancing shirtless and says, "I have tearaway pants and I'm not afraid to use them. The only way to stop me is to sign Lily Randall's petition." And yep, that does it. At the end of the school day, Robbie has basically convinced himself to turn himself in. Lily tries to console him that she would do the same thing. It doesn't help. But then Kevin Delancey shows him a sketch of ? Saying, "If someone busts me, I'm not going to stop. I like to draw. No fear, McGrath." Robbie had planned on skipping RFR to talk to Waller, but that little speech changes his mind. As ? He apologizes on air to Waller for playing the tape, saying it was a mistake. And if he revealed himself as ? That would mean admitting that ? is a mistake, which it absolutely isn't, he just took it too far. He tells the audience that Waller is exposing ? at the next day's assembly, so this is goodbye. And now is a good time to stop calling Waller Danger Man. He also takes the opportunity to say that if there's something you really believe in doing, you can't let anyone scare you out of doing it. As Robbie leaves the studio, Waller responds from his office, "Okay, ? That's strike one." At the assembly, Waller makes a slight concession on the headphone ban. Once the petition gets up to 200 students, it's currently at 180, there can be a formal debate. No mention of ? though, until someone says, "Danger Man strikes again." When the principal then says, if ? had any integrity, any guts, he'd reveal himself right now, Robbie stands, but then Kevin says, "I am ? And Lily, Travis, Ray, and a whole host of other students repeat after him as Waller realizes this round is over. Don't change that channel. We'll be right back on Teeny Bopper TV Breakdown.